Got it.
All right, you guys, Linda's going to do some housekeeping for tonight's call. And then I will be leading with Trisha. She's going to lead with me, co-lead with me. And it's October 1st, you guys, October 1st. And our monthly objective is all about excuses. So our topic tonight is about excuses, the downfall of year-end excuses and making a shopping list of them. So before we get into that and dive into it, I'm going to have Linda do some housekeeping, and then I'll roll into the topic.
Because everybody knows that October is the month we all start giving in, right? Halloween marks the start of the year-end excuses. Let's see, quick housekeeping stuff. Woo-hoo. Can you see that? The Calm book. Baby Calm. That's our PD book for the month of October, and it is awesome. And we're starting today. I know we were a little late getting things out, but there's a reason that we were late getting things together. So we have a lot of things that go on behind the scenes around this place, right? And one of those is outreach to like different companies. Like if you don't know, I think, Jack and Louise and maybe Susan, I think some people got some free bicycles after they ran the Tough Mudder from Cannondale. So Jack often has companies reach out to her for promotions or advertisement, but she's normally too busy. So we started this little thing where if somebody reaches out to her, she sends it to me. I type up this, well-crafted response, give it back to her. She sends it off to the people, right? So, so Max Lucado, if you've ever read any of his books or you know who he is, his team reached out a couple months ago and wanted her to promote one of his books. And we were trying to coordinate that and because it just got released. So we got that coordinated and we're going to end up doing that book for November. So we had to find something quick for October. So Calm book is awesome. It's not like a big wordy book, lots of pictures, activities. Love it. So check it out. Join in on the PD. Michelle and Nancy and Caitlin are heading up our PD group, and I'm washing my hands, sending it off because that's what I do. Right? And Health Bet, it's going awesome. I know. How do I know? Because everybody's pissed off, right? They're not getting their points. They're not doing their stuff. But, I took Morgan's foundation of a health bet and how she calculated points because it was just so awesome, and added my little shrink twist to it, because so much about managing your weight, even if you're just at a healthy weight, is about consistency and building habits. And it's done through various actions, all of the actions that go, I guess, work behind the scenes to help people manage their weight, like accountability and support and tracking. There's so many indirect activities that we do to manage our weight versus the direct activities. And so that's why it's been a little bit different this time. We got 2 weeks left, right? Yep. Because we just started week 5. Whoop, whoop. All right. There you go. We got a lot of good people in the lead this time. Not me, because I was on traveling. I feel like I'm missing some. Oh, newsletter. That's what we're doing. So yeah, newsletter. That's exciting. We've always got things working behind the scenes. Tracy already posted the front page, the monthly holla, but we've been working on the behind the scenes with, just a Mind Body Soldier newsletter to bring you guys some more information and help with some certain things like product information or program launches or all kinds of good stuff. And you'll see it's going to come out probably tomorrow or the next day. And you'll see about most of the articles will have like a hashtag, like hashtag Mind Body Soldier or hashtag MBS Tribe or MBS Nutrition, because we really want to start flooding social media with those hashtags, because then that links up to the Mind Body Soldier Facebook page and the IG page, and then those link up to the website and all kinds of good stuff going on. So use those tags, and then we want to start featuring a coach every month who's doing really cool stuff, whether it's on your journey or in your business or even just in your life. And one things we're going to be looking at is all those hashtags, because that, of course, draws us to your story and what's going on with you. So, we'll be reaching out soon to see who's going to be on our November cover of the newsletter. It's going to be awesome. So thank you guys to all of you who's been helping out with the newsletter. I so appreciate it. And I'm going to be reaching out to more of you because, we're going to start getting people to help out with getting the information in it. And that's it. So just want to say I appreciate all of you guys who do so many things for us. And I love you guys. And I can't wait to squeeze all of you in a couple weeks at the Leader Retreat. So freaking excited.
I know. I'm so pumped.
We got 3 spots left. We got 3 spots left just in case.
You guys, I have to give total props to the idea to, I believe it was Linda and Jack sitting at her place contemplating all kinds of ideas they're doing all the time. And that's where the monthly holla came up with, and then where it sprung into this newsletter. And it's honestly going to be really great, you guys, because all those questions that you have, we ask and then we forget, and you're like, where was that again? Where is that again? What's coming up? What's that? It's going to be all in this newsletter. And it's just like, you have it right there to reference all the time. It's like an expansion of the monthly holla. Really. I'm really excited about it. Really, really, really excited. But I want to start off with just saying thank you to all of you guys that are on right now. And this kind of flows into tonight's topic about excuses, because I'm sure each and every one of you has something that they could be doing right now, whether it's nighttime routines with your kids, whether it's getting your workout in, whether it's work carrying over from today's work, whether it's whatever it is, whether it's self-care, and you're taking 30 or 45 minutes sleeping. Yeah. I worked really early today, so early bedtime would be great for me too. But you chose to be on tonight and to carve this time out of your night to be here and be present. So I just want to thank you guys, all of you. I see a lot of familiar faces on here. Actually, I don't even think there's anyone on here that I don't know. Maybe Padme? I think I've seen her face before too, though, because I just saw your face 2 seconds ago. But anyways, point being is you guys show up, and thank you. Thank you for that. So tonight's topic is excuses, right? And every day they're full of them, right? We can think of many different, I see some heads shaking at me. So I'll go into it right away then. Every day we can come up with, especially this time of year, like Linda said, this is coming in the last 90 days of the year. This is where all the excuses come up, where we don't have time, why we can't carve time to work out, why we can't eat healthy, why I can't spend time on myself. Basically, why we can't do anything, why we'll find an excuse to not be able to do anything, because there are always something more important that we can think of to do. The reality is that though, every excuse is a choice. What we're really choosing was what is more important to us than what is not. So, and that's okay, because I feel like I'm getting way off track here, you guys, sorry. I feel like I'm going in a circle. Okay, let me just rein her in here. Okay, let me start over. I don't even know why I can't even form a thought here. I am losing it.
Dude, you're good. Keep going with what you were going with.
You think? Really? Okay. I'm just I can't even. Okay. All right. This is exactly where you just start to spiral, and that's where I'm going. Okay. All right. Reset. Okay. I guess what I'm going to start with right now is I'm going to share something personal, and then I'm going to go into my notes because I feel like I can get better on track. Okay. So you guys know my story with Darren, and that my husband had a stroke 4 years ago. I've shared it many a times, and I think most of you guys know that. But what it made me think of when I was thinking of tonight's topic about excuses was that when you're faced with something really difficult in life, which we all have, if you all had to think about one thing that has happened to you that you were faced with that made you, that you had to overcome, like there wasn't a choice in the matter. You had to get through it somehow. So what were you going to do to get over it? If you had to think of that one thing in life you were faced with that was extremely difficult, and what did you do, or what was it that helped you overcome it? So I started thinking about that. And the one thing that comes up to mind is the fact that my husband had a stroke the day after we got engaged. And I was faced with this choice. What was I going to do? The obvious choice was I going to leave or was I going to stay? That's the black and white reality. And my choice is was absolutely I'm going to stay. So now what does it look like? Because everything I'm used to doing in life, my routines, everything that I chose every day to do, getting up at a certain time, this is what we did during out the day, I had to work, this and that, how I got things done no longer was going to work like that. So now I had to figure out, okay, I could make excuses that I can't get my workout in anymore because I couldn't get to the gym. And I could make an excuse the fact that I don't have time anymore to get up at the time and make myself breakfast and have my meals ready for myself, because now I'm requiring to go to the hospital, get to work. All these other things came into play. So it was really difficult for me. And for a while, I struggled like for a good 3 to 4 months. It wasn't pretty. I thought I was handling everything fine, and it wasn't working. And that's when you're faced with, okay, well, what if this is not working? I'm doing all these things. I was creating bad habits that I didn't even have before, and I wasn't accomplishing anything. And I knew where I wanted to be. I just didn't know what that looked like anymore. And I didn't know how to get there. So I had to just rein it back and strip it all down and take one thing. I was like, okay, well, what's one thing where I absolutely need to do right now? And it was, I needed to take care of myself, because I'm not eating and I'm not getting any form of exercise, which is driving me crazy because I can't focus on anything. Everything else is going to work. Like going to work was a non-negotiable. I had to work, and going to the hospital was a non-negotiable. I fit those into my day. So now what about everything else? And it was super hard. I was not a morning person. I never meal prepped in my life. And I didn't know anything about how to even start all that. Of course, in the meantime, Beachbody was, presented to me by Jack. And I had no idea what that entailed. And who would have thought that all these things that I was struggling with and that I needed in my life would come from that opportunity and from Beachbody, from Jack, from this one invitation from this girl who had no idea who I was. So I looked at that and I was thinking about all the choices that I was making every day. I was finding, and you guys, and no one would have faulted me for any of the things that I was doing because of what I was going through. They would, oh, but you know what? It's okay, because this is extremely difficult. I can't even imagine what you're going through, and you shouldn't feel that. But I knew deep down inside, I'd go into work and be like, oh my God, I'm stressed out. I didn't even know. I didn't want to burden anybody. I didn't know how to share it with anyone. My family was great. They helped me out. But you know what that's like? Sometimes you don't want to reach out to a family member. You just need that other person that's unbiased. You know what I mean? Just to oh my God. And at this point, I wasn't even going to therapy either. I had no idea. And it was about noticing the habits that I was creating, these bad habits that I had previously already had instilled from even before the stroke, that I started noticing were no longer serving me. Because now I'm in a situation where I have a goal and I have a purpose, and I need to, so to speak, replace these bad habits with good habits. So I needed to figure out what that looked like. And the first thing for me was, if I have no time during the middle of my day, I needed to get up earlier. I needed to start by getting up earlier, because I realized that I can accomplish the things even if it's one or two things in the morning, because that's my free time. I needed to start doing it somewhere. So I started getting up every day at 5 o'clock. And sometimes it changed my morning routine. In the beginning, it was my personal development, reading, and my working out. And then that changed into working and other things like for my side business. But I realized as I shuffled things around, that was my golden hour to 2 hours, from 5 to 7. And it was extremely hard. Like I said before, you guys, I was not a morning person. I love my sleep. I love to sleep in. That was just me. And it was years and years and years of me being that person and having that habit of staying up late, getting up later, because I had a job that I didn't have to get up that early. So it was okay. But now I no longer had that freedom of being able to come home from work and do those things that I was doing now at 5 in the morning, doing them later in the afternoon. So I had to start somewhere. And I was replacing that bad habit with my morning routine. I think what I realized too, and when I was looking into figuring out what really bad habits look like. And I know a lot of the times bad habits come from stress and boredom. Really, like how often do you find yourself just binging with Netflix, scrolling the internet, even going on a shopping spree? We don't even realize that we are creating these bad habits by doing things to replace an emotion or to replace something pre-existing. So it's feeding something else. If we to look deeper as to why we are creating these bad habits, usually they're feeding something that is deeper inside, a pre-existing, like something else that we're dealing with. And we feed them with these other things. So maybe we crave connecting with people, crave connecting with other people socially. So we start by scrolling social media, but then as we're scrolling social media, you're starting to feel, oh, now you're getting into the comparison game. Oh, like now you're feeling bad about yourself because you're comparing yourself to this person, to that person. Oh, how can she can do all of this and I can't do all of this? And now there's where it's feeding that bad habit. Oh yeah, CJ, yeah, it starts to spiral. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with in terms of bad habits, excuses, creating those, trying to create good habits to replace them with the bad habits, and how really they can jeopardize these bad habits, like can interrupt our life and prevent us from accomplishing our goals, and they jeopardize our health, both mentally and physically. And really they're a time waste and an energy waste. So, but yet we find ourselves in a spiral where we keep doing them. You know, like we keep going back to these, falling back into those bad habits. That's pretty much what I wanted to share. It's not a good way to end that note, but Trisha, do you want to chime in on a little bit of that? This is like,
yeah, definitely. And I think you touched on a couple really good things when you're talking about just excuses in general, about really how excuses are a choice that we make, right? So it's not like something in the universe is saying like, you can't do your beach body work. You can't do your workout. Like maybe physically you have an injury or something, you know. I'm looking at you, Nina, you're rolling around. But ultimately we have our priorities in life. And if something is not important to you, you are going to make up an excuse to not do it. So you really have to kind of lay out your priorities. And how many of you have made an excuse about your workouts? Just raise your hand. How many of you have made an excuse to not do your invites or your follow-ups? And it's going to be, oh, I'm so busy, I'm so tired, I had such a hard day. Like and yeah, maybe you do. And I feel like every once in a while it's okay to use that as an excuse. You're human. But the problem is when you become consistent in the excuses. So we've got to all like stop blaming our circumstances on why we can't do things, because don't think that you're special in the way that my job sucks, like someone's sick, like all these things. We all have these challenges in our lives. So you're all here right now, even on this phone call, because you did not make an excuse. And there's a lot of coaches on this team that aren't not here today. But the fact that you guys are prioritizing your business and trying to make an attempt to grow is why you're all here. So I think it's very easy in this business, and I think all of us have been coaching for a little bit of time, where we sign up and we're gung-ho, and then the excuses start to pile up on why you can't do the invites, and oh, this person's saying no, and I just can't take it, so I'm just not going to invite. Well, then no one's coming to you because you're not inviting, because you're just piling up all of the excuses, and then you wonder why your business sucks. You're not making money, and oh, I can't do it anymore because now I'm really busy and so I'm going to quit because of all these excuses that build up in your life. But I think too, excuses come about when we get really overwhelmed with things. And if you find that, and if you find you're constantly making excuses for things like your workouts, your business, start writing out what's going on, because I think Tracy, you even said, it's like there's a bigger picture behind excuses all the time. So it's a really good opportunity when you're finding that you're spiraling with these excuses to lay it out, and then start to make steps to blow past those excuses. Like Linda had mentioned a kind of good analogy earlier, how if you say that you're going to do something, like you're going to drink coffee in the morning is the example that she used. So you're not just going to wake up and magically have this like cup of coffee in front of you, which would be amazing. If you could figure that out, like that would be incredible. Just wake up and here's this coffee. But you have to create the steps in order for that to happen, right? You have to go out, buy the coffee, you have to grind the beans, you have to put it in the pot. Like it takes steps to make that habit occur every morning. The same with your workouts, the same with your business. So you really need to, with anything, that one thing that you are making excuses about, write down those steps. Even though it seems so mundane and so simple, write it down with your business. I can't invite people. I'm afraid what they're going to say. They're going to say no, maybe, but is it really going to affect your life? Probably not. So write down those individual steps. Today, I'm going to have a specific topic I'm going to invite people to. Write down the people that you're going to invite to. Send out the invites, like just step by step. All right.
I have something to add to that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
No, chime in. Actually, I was just going to say.
I guess you have to look at it like when you do invite and people give you excuses, and it's so annoying, and we all get so pissed because we say these things to these people. We have the same 24 hours as you do, but we're coaching and we're working out and we're eating right and we're doing all these things. So I know for me, when I start to think like, well, I don't have time, I'm going to do it later, or I'm busy, and I keep putting it off, then I think about all those people that give me these bullshit excuses, and I'm like, no, I don't like it when they do that to me, so I'm not going to do that to myself. So that's something to think about, guys, is when you get those people that give you these excuses that are so unrealistic, it's just what we're doing with our business when we don't move it forward. So think about that. That's all.
That's a great point, Caitlin. Absolutely. And I often do that a lot too when people share with me what their goals are or what they're after, you know, what their intentions are, and they give me an excuse, and I try to meet them at where they're at. Like, well, what's the one thing that you can do? If you can't do all this and it seems like you have no time and you have no money or you have this or that, but you still want to reach that goal and you still have like things in mind that you want to accomplish. So what's one thing that you can do? And when I usually ask them that, I'm like, you can do one thing. Because that's all, like you said, Trisha, is creating those steps. Because like you said, you're not going to just wake up and you're going to lose 10 pounds. You're not going to just wake up and be like, I just have a huge healthy salad in front of me. Woohoo! Like, I didn't have to do anything. Like, no, we have the grocery shop. That sucks. I don't know. Or food shop, whatever you want to call it. And you got to make stuff. You got to prep it. Like that, like, doesn't just come out of nowhere. So that's a really good point.
Well, and the biggest excuse is time. And it makes me absolutely crazy because if one more person says that they're busy, their kids play sports and they just don't have the time, and I'll say, well, just get up a little bit earlier. Well, I don't want to. Well, that's a bullshit excuse because you can, so you can do it. You just don't want to. So whatever, those people piss me off.
That's it. Own it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I learned when I was going through my divorce and things were so bad and it took everything I had just to get up and get to work every day. And I remember the day that I went to work and I didn't have any socks on, which doesn't sound that bad, right? Because a lot of people don't have socks on, except that it was winter time. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where are my socks, right? And I didn't even know until I got to work and somebody mentioned, you know, okay, what's wrong? Why are your socks not on? You know, because you can see when you're walking around. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what else am I forgetting? Because we have, our day is run by like, I don't know, 85% or something like that in habit. I mean, we get up, we take a shower, or we get dressed, or we do all these things, and it's just habit. We don't even think about it. We might think about, okay, what color of socks I'm going to wear today. But the act of just going to the dresser to pull the sock out, putting it on your feet, it's a habit. And when we think about the habits that we want to build, it's easier to break it down into steps, you know, and sometimes those steps don't even have anything to do with the outcome that you're looking for, such as tracking in like the health bet. Tracking itself is not going to make you magically jump on the scale and lose weight. But through the act of tracking is when you discover stuff. And so if you want to build a habit, break it down into the steps, like, okay, when do I need to get up? When do I need to go to the dresser and pull my socks out? Things like that. And if you want to get rid of a habit, it's the exact same thing, but in the opposite way. If I want to stop drinking soda, it seems, oh, okay, well, I'll just stop buying soda. Or, you know, I'll just say no, you know, I won't have any more soda and I'll just be consistent with saying no. It doesn't work that way. It's too hard. You have to come up with new steps to make new habits that make it impossible or really hard to do the old habit. It's all about building habits. There you go.
I have to just chime in on that because you just reminded me when I shared this with a few of you. This is a perfect example with my husband who has memory loss. So creating habits now for him, that's replacing old habits because I just assume that those old habits are there, but no, not so much. So I keep things for him in certain places for him so that he can remember to go to that specific place for that item. So clothing, I keep them in the same spot all the time, except what I didn't realize was that where his pants are, underneath that stack of pants was a pair of long johns, and they were there with the pants. So what? No big deal, right? I didn't think, and I would think that he would have thought, well, that's not really appropriate attire to wear out. You would think, not so much. So when I left for work and Darren got picked up to go to his appointment for the gym because he doesn't drive, and he came back from the gym, I got a text from the trainer to say, Trace, not quite sure how this happened, but Darren showed up into the gym today with long johns. And I was like, what are you talking about? What are you like referencing long johns meaning something else, like track pants? No, when I say long johns, they're long johns. Like, the butt flap with like the flap in the front, and like they're like the cheese grater style looking, where they're like skinny at the bottom, and like you think the elastic band on the top is really like tight, but it's not. And I go, oh my God, with what? And he's like, and I don't really think his t-shirt was very long either. I was like, oh my God. He showed up at the gym like this. So I'm thinking, how could this happen? Oh my, well, he just followed direction. My pants are always kept here in this one spot. And this one didn't replace the laundry that was downstairs. Put some new pants there for him. He just grabbed what was there and just put them on. Went to the gym. So in defense, I have to remind myself too that, okay, now I have to create something a little different. Maybe I keep track pants only there and not other types of pants there that you might not think that are appropriate. So you brought that habit up to me when you said about the socks, Linda, about those habits that he has already in there. He knew the pants were there, but again, I have to maybe switch it up a little bit, make things a little bit more consistent in terms of like, okay, just maybe all track pants go there and every other type go somewhere else. Possibly I just had to share that with you guys, give you a little laugh. But Linda, do you have a call to action?
I have one more thing to add to that.
Caitlin.
I love Darren, but anyways, I was going to say, when I started coaching, that was something that like I really had to work on, was like replacing my own habits, because there was things that I did and I just did them out of habit that I had to change. And we've all done that. It doesn't matter if you're a new coach or an old coach. When you're coaching, you get into doing your personal development. You make that a habit that you probably didn't do before. And I now like teach my challengers the same thing. It's like, replace those bad habits. So, it's something that we're always working on, and it actually helped me huge get over a lot of things, was just replacing certain habits and reminding myself of the outcome of the habit, so just a little tidbit. So replace all your bad habits with good ones. Bye.
There you go. That's it. My call to action is actually just, I encourage you guys to join us for the Calm book, because it's filled with so many things that you can use to replace other habits, even if it's doing, a 3-minute meditation, or going outside and picking some flowers, or going on a walk, or whatever the case is. It's really about finding things to do that distract you from the things that you don't want to do, and building them to consistency. So, Calm.
I love it.
Can I throw another call to action out there too? Okay, so I want everyone to go to the team page, post one thing that they find they make an excuse about every day, whether it's fitness, nutrition, inviting, their business, whatever it may be, whatever the biggest one that you find is consistent excuse. And I want you to list out several steps that you can use to address that excuse, to get over it, to hurdle it.
Very good. You know what? I do want to share one more thing. We got time. Yeah, we got time. I was away, I was traveling this weekend and with some friends, and I still worked out every day. Woo-hoo, thanks to Tracy, because she makes me do it. But yesterday I woke up and I didn't get a lot of sleep the night before, because I had a sinus headache that just kind of ran right behind my right eye and down the side of my right, just right there. Oh, it was so awful. And to lay down flat was just like pressure. It was terrible. And so I didn't get a lot of sleep Saturday night. And when I woke up Sunday, it was still it was so bad. And was like, I was sick to my stomach. Ugh, awful. And we were leaving at 10 Sunday morning, or Monday morning, sorry, Monday morning to go to the airport. And I would be traveling until about 10 o'clock that night. So I was like, I got to get my workout in. I got to get my workout in. And so all the friends, people I was staying with, they left me home that morning. They went out to run some errands because I got up late. I didn't do my workout when I normally do. And so my habits already jacked up. And I'm like, I got to do this. I got to do this. And I was doing everything I could to talk myself out of it. Right. It's like, no, my head hurts. It's going to make it worse. It's going to pound. I'm going to get sick. I'll be throwing up on the way to the airport and all these things. I was like, you know what? Stop it. So I did a really low impact kind of a yin yoga stretch workout and this and that. It was all good. Did my 30 minutes. So the girls came home, picked me up on the way to the airport. One of them says, hey, how's your head? And I was like, oh, it's good now. And she's like, and you worked out this morning being, you know, as bad as you felt? And I said, yep. And she's like, why? I told her that at the end of 2017, I set a goal for myself to work out 365 days in a row and to do whatever I could to make it happen. And I gave myself a little bit of wiggle room that no more than 2 days a week, if I had a really good reason, could I do less than 15 minutes or less than 20 minutes? And it had to be at least 15 on no more than 2 days, right? And I did it all 365 days. And it didn't matter if I had a migraine, because there was a few days I had a migraine through the year, or if I just felt crappy, or if Brad was in the hospital or anything like that. I stuck to that commitment to get it done. And what I learned was that every time that I had a migraine, every time I had a headache, every time I didn't feel good, even if I drank a little too much the night before, I got up and I did that workout, gone, headache gone, migraine gone, feeling better even after drinking a little too much. And had it not been for that 365-day goal, I don't think I ever would have pushed myself to work out with a headache or a sinus headache because, the pressure is just pounding, 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 pounding. And so I learned a lot. And I learned a whole lot of other excuses that I make that aren't really excuses, And that's it. An excuse is just a reason. And you get to decide, like Tricia said, you get to decide whether or not you want to have an excuse or whether or not you want to push through. There you go. Now I'm really done.
All right, guys, that's it. I thank you guys for all joining. And
can we get a picture?
What's that?
Can we get a picture?
Oh yeah, picture, please.
But I'm not going to take it. No, I'm on my phone.
Okay, fine. I'll take it. I was like, sure, take it. No, I'm not taking it. Okay.
The idea person.
I'm going to take it with my phone, though, because I don't know how to do it with my computer. Okay. Everyone, where's everyone's faces? Samantha, Ashley.
Jane knows.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheese. Why do I have to say cheese? That's so weird. Okay. Thanks for hopping on, you guys. Thanks for the call to action, Tricia and Linda. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.